Look for the purpose of life. It's simple if our job and lives keep repeating themselves day after day. However, each person's existence becomes bland, shallow, and meaningless as a result of this. Our increasingly unique lives are explained in the following summaries. At work, we tend to separate ourselves and reflect more than we used to. And it's from here that you'll notice. What are the 4 pillars and why are they significant? How can you get positive things out of a bad situation? What is Project the Future, and how does it motivate today's youth to pursue their dreams? Concentrate on 4 important pillars. Now, think about the current status of your life that you're dealing with on a daily basis. Are you able to live comfortably with adequate money in your pocket? Even if you respond yes, there is no assurance that your life will be significant. Suicide rates have been rising in wealthy countries in recent years, which is concerning. According to a 2014 research by psychologists Shigehiro Oishi and Edina, individuals in the United States and Sweden are typically happier than those in disadvantaged nations like Togo and Sierra Leone, but the suicide rate is substantially higher. What exactly is the rationale behind this? According to research, while contemporary living provides both physical and psychological benefits, a full emphasis on the individual can lead to a life that is genuinely meaningful. When it comes to the idea of meaning, over a quarter of Americans can't define what makes their lives significant, according to study. This is especially important since psychologists like Roy Baumeister, who have examined what makes a happy life, explain that having a meaningful life is far more pleasant than living a good life. Have a wonderful life. To get started on your path to a more meaningful existence, keep the 4 pillars of meaning in mind: belonging, purpose, storytelling, and transcendence. When people talk about what makes their lives worthwhile, these categories keep coming up. Mahatma Gandhi once said that living a meaningful life is linked to the goal of serving others. When director Carl Laemmle feels linked to his children, he believes that belonging gives him purpose. These 4 foundations are widely mentioned by philosophers and psychologists. From Aristotle to Baumeister, it has been suggested that meaning comes from belonging, and that belonging's goal is to help you connect with something bigger than yourself by contributing to something broader, significant about your environment and experiences. Meaning may be found in both familiar and unfamiliar settings by remembering these 4 foundations. We'll begin with the first pillar in the following sections. You'll discover how a strong sense of belonging may lead to a more fulfilling existence. Individualism runs counter to our needs. Did your buddies text or browse Instagram on their phones the last time you went out to dine with friends? If you answered yes, you're not alone. Nowadays, people are concerned. We've become so engrossed in technology that we've forgotten how important it is to connect with those around us. It's a natural human need to be a part of a society or group. However, many people in modern society live quite solitary lives. Renee Spitz, a psychotherapist, observed in 1945 that the death rate in orphanages was exceptionally high due to the fact that these children were frequently not exposed to the outside world in order to prevent the virus from spreading. Infection and illness are 2 terms used interchangeably. Spitz was the first to discover a loss of connection as a cause of mortality via his studies. The scientific cause for this has been established by modern researchers. Chronic loneliness can impair the immune system, resulting in an early death. Despite the fact that a sense of belonging is plainly necessary for human survival, social isolation and individuality are on the rise. People are increasingly spending less time with their loved ones and instead focusing on their phones and computer displays. Take the results of the social survey to back up this argument. In 1985, a group of Americans were asked how many persons they had in-depth talks with in the preceding 6 months, and the majority of the replies were 3. However, by 2004, the figure had fallen to 0. Individualism and loneliness appear to be the key elements contributing to many people's feelings that their lives are meaningless. Fix it right now by concentrating on your connections. If you try to connect with the people around you, you will discover the second important pillar: purpose. We must start with an attitude if we wish to discover significance in our lives. Self-reflection and assisting others are 2 ways to find purpose. Have you ever thought about what your life's purpose is? Before you get too worked up over the gravity of the situation, keep in mind that the notion of purpose isn't all that serious. Paralysis. Think of your mission as a strength and a chance to serve others when you consider it. According to developmental psychologist William Damon, your mission should be broad and have something to do with making a difference in the world. Don't worry, this doesn't imply you have to set a lofty goal for yourself, such as attending every activist event in town. You can live more easily if you have a significant aim and contribution. Zookeepers, for example, have a responsibility to improve the lives of animals. As a result, they had a purpose in life. As this example demonstrates, a person with a sense of purpose is more concerned with how to serve others than with self-interest. As a result, through assisting others, you will discover a sense of purpose. Those who consider their work significant in connection to vocations such as teachers, radiation therapists, school administrators, and service-related positions, according to a poll of 2 million participants. You don't need to make a big career move if your employment isn't directly tied to assisting others. Instead, concentrate on the effects of your labor on others. A road worker, for example, is in charge of directing traffic and ensuring the safety of others. To put it another way, focusing on work that has a positive impact on others may make your career more purposeful and your life more meaningful. The third pillar, narrative, comes next. We make new connections and interpretations through sharing stories. You may consider yourself a quiet individual who dislikes being the focus of attention. What if, on the other hand, you were always a captivating storyteller? Everyone, in reality, is a person. Storytellers, each with their own unique life tale to share. As a result, the third pillar of meaning is narrative. It's about how individuals make stories out of their own lives. People are motivated to make stories because they view the world in this way. Individuals derive significance from the way they relate their life narrative to others. Dan McAdam, a psychologist, has spent over 30 years researching the topic of life story and purpose. He believes that a person's narrative identity, or the tale they tell themselves, is formed by focusing on the most significant events in their life and interpreting them in various ways. According to McAdam's research, persons who create salvation tales about their life, or stories that progress from terrible to good, enjoy more meaningful lives. It's ideal to think about how an important event has affected who you are and how you've grown up while narrating a narrative to give it significance. Scholars call this technique counterproductive thinking. This is when you start asking yourself, what if? Counterproductive thinking has also been demonstrated to help people appreciate the benefits of the route they've chosen by forcing them to consider what their life might be like if that significant event had occurred. This will not happen. Stories assist us in comprehending the world and our role within it. Also, comprehend why things are the way they are. Transcendence can aid in the dismantling of boundaries between you and the rest of the world. Have you ever gazed up at the stars at night and realized how insignificant you are in the grand scheme of things? Yes, you've undergone a spiritual awakening. The fourth pillar of meaning is all about perceiving a greater reality in which everything is related. The mystical experience of transcendence, according to psychologist William James, is uncontrolled, lasts just a few hours, and is difficult to articulate. Transcendence, on the other hand, has the potential to disclose facts to you. David Yarden, another psychologist, argues that when a person is in a transcendental condition, they feel linked to the environment around them. When a person discovers the meaning of life, he eliminates his sense of tension, experiences perfect calm, and is optimally happy. The walls between you and the world around you melt when you are in a transcendental state of consciousness. The funny thing is that you get a paradoxical feeling of being linked to a greater force while also feeling immensely significant. Some meditators have said that when they attained a transcendental state of thought, their own limits vanished. They felt as though they were melting into their surroundings all of a sudden. This sensation is frequently referred to as death, and it is a psychological precursor to confronting one's ultimate loss, actual death. Death is a terrible idea for the majority of people. However, for someone who has gone through ego death, the last death is like a new beginning. Buddhists frequently use the metaphor of a cloud to emphasize this concept. When you consider the life cycle of a cloud, you'll notice that it doesn't die when it vanishes from the sky. It just transforms into rain, turns into grass, cows eat the grass and produce milk, which is then turned into ice cream for humans to consume. Transcendence gives people the impression that everything is interconnected and that they will always be a part of the cosmos in some manner. It's a psychological condition that gives life significance. The interpretation of a traumatic event determines the meaning of trauma. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once remarked, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." When you or someone you know faces difficulty and finds a way to pass as a better version of themselves, the truth of the above remark may be felt. Individuals might flourish after a traumatic event by relying on pillars of meaning. This is known as post-traumatic growth, and it can occur in 5 different ways. Trauma recovery specialists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun have developed techniques to assist you in your recovery. The first is your connection, the second is that you can continue to explore new aims or routes in life, the third is that you can tap into some of your inner power, the fourth is that you can become more spiritual, and the fifth is that you can strive to perceive life in a new light. But why do some traumatized people experience this phase of development while others do not? It plainly has nothing to do with the nature or severity of the injury, but rather with how the damage is interpreted. People who endured childhood trauma and kept it a secret for the rest of their lives had greater health issues than those who revealed it, according to social psychologist James Pennebaker. Pennebaker encourages her students to spend 15 minutes each day, for several days in a row, deepening their thoughts, tapping into their innermost emotions, and writing about their experiences as part of their practice. Subjects who completed the task of writing down their thoughts and feelings regarding the personal tragedy needed to see the doctor less frequently. You'll also have less anxiety and depression symptoms, a healthier immune system, and a host of other advantages. Subjects utilize deep terms like "I know" while discussing their experiences. This shows that they have grasped the meaning of their own terrible experiences. They can make meaning of their experiences via exercise, which aids post-traumatic growth. So, if you've faced any form of struggle, try to appreciate it by writing it down, reviewing it, and finding meaning from your tragedy. Exploring cultures changes trends. The work and spend mindset is still very much alive in modern culture. People spend less time fostering social ties and more time focusing on their personal emotions. Spend more time commuting and working late into the night, although this is changing in certain areas. People are more preoccupied with the spiritual over the material, emphasizing purpose, knowledge, and community over money or things, according to political scientists and economists. Consumption. A variety of organizations and cultures are striving to develop relationships, promote purpose, and give space for storytelling, which has contributed to this transition. Take future projects, for example, which has a goal that is backed by a pillar of purpose. The project's goal is to help children pursue their passions by placing mentors, or dream managers, at schools in some of the country's most impoverished districts. These individuals assist students in realizing their aspirations by providing them with ideas and assisting them in making strategies to achieve their goals. Students who have worked on the future project claim that even after many years, they still feel the benefits of their participation. They have a better feeling of purpose and are more interested in their studies. Similarly, 2 pillars of narrative and project sustain the StoryCorps oral history project. The concept allows regular individuals to narrate their life experiences in front of a large story booth audience. This is a private location where people meet and are respected for listening. The author listened to a narrative on Story Booth about what parenting and adoption mean to a lady named Mary Anna. Mary Anna was extremely affected by the author's story, which she had never heard before. You may take the first step toward building meaning in your own life and in society by listening to other people's experiences. Summary. The book's major messages. You don't need to travel the globe to live a fulfilling life. Maintaining your life habits according to the 4 pillars of meaning, belonging, purpose, storytelling, and transcendence will help you discover fulfillment. Advice for action. Greetings to the guard. Begin to get to know a security guard or cleaner at your place of business or study. Jane Dutton, an organizational psychologist, discovered that even tiny behaviors may help you form high-quality connections in everyday life. This gives you a greater sense of belonging, which makes your life more meaningful. Furthermore, you assist people around you in feeling more appreciated and respected.